Okay, we are on the 4th day of the Menopause Makeover Challenge, and we are going to talk about digestion. By now, you're recognizing how all of the little pieces, parts fit together and how they weave together, and there's no simple explanation on how to do self-care because it's everywhere. It involves everything. So this 5-day program is to help you to flush out some of the processes that can support you and your glowing, amazing health. So digestion is huge. And I'm not just talking about the digestion that happens in your alimentary tract from mouth to anus. I'm talking about even subtle digestion. Our thoughts and emotions need to be digested. I don't know how many hundreds of people that I've worked with that have undigested emotional traumas stuck in their body. And if that doesn't get rooted out, if that doesn't get processed, it affects everything. It even affects our gross digestion because it's a stressor. And we know, science knows now that stress affects our digestive process. We know that if we're stuck in a fight or flight, this may be review for many of you, that we cannot digest optimally. Fight or flight allows us to survive, and the energy is shunted into systems that allow us to be strong or to run, and it shuts down our digestive process. So it's really important to look at stress, and we're going to dive into that tomorrow so that you can start to see even more how everything comes together. Digestion is so key, and now I'm talking about our food digestion. Back in the 90s, I worked with people that had digestive issues, and I was saying, 20 years from now, everyone's going to be talking about probiotics. Everyone's going to be talking about gut flora. And sure enough, it's like everywhere. Everyone's talking about the importance, and science has finally, the mainstream has finally come to the place where they recognize how important it is that we have really optimized gut flora, the healthy bacteria in the gut and all the little bugs. So to optimize digestion, we need a few things. We need peristalsis, which is the movement of food through your body. We need fiber. Without fiber, the peristalsis, the muscles that push the food through, has nothing to hang on to. So it bulks up the stool so it can move through. And we also need juice. We need hydration. We need moisture. And the longer our body takes to move the food through the body, the drier that bolus of stool gets, and it can cause constipation. And if you've ever had constipation, it's not a pleasant thing. On the other side of that is diarrhea. And what we want is that middle place, that we have really good, well-formed stools that happen like clockwork every morning and maybe twice or 3 times a day. When that's happening, we know that most of our other systems are being supported too. It's one of the telltale signs that we're healthy. So I took some notes because I don't want to miss anything. I want to give you enough valuable content so you can start to implement some of these things. I will say that the plant kingdom is loaded with digestive powerhouses that support almost all aspects, well, literally all aspects of our health. So that's where I lean. If you ever have a chance to look at my apothecary, much of my apothecary is devoted to supporting digestive function, because it's that important. So let's just dive in here. Let's see. There are categories of foodstuffs and mucilaginous herbs and foods help to create a slippery effect in the digestive system. And for those of you who feel dry, which is a very inevitable part of aging, like we dry out over time, and I can almost see people going, yep, totally there, I've got that. But we want to create a slippery environment in our digestive tract so that it's a hospitable environment for our good bugs. Science knows, we know that when we have good bugs, there's a gut-brain junction, there's a gut-immune junction. It's tied to every system in the body, and our microbes are responsible for creating awesome neurotransmitters that help us feel good, among a bazillion other things. So when we have a slippery, hospitable environment, we can proliferate and create a beautiful microbiota in our gut that helps us feel amazing. And some of the herbs are marshmallow root, slippery elm, flaxseed. Flaxseed's a big one. My daughter, when she was a teenager, she got a job making smoothies at this smoothie bar, and she ascertained that flax seeds made her nicer. And she was not wrong. She got that. Chia seeds, they're slippery, they're juicy. Beetroot. If any of you know me, I talk about beets all the time. Beet is a superfood. It has that slippery effect, and it has an amazing quality of soluble fibers. Probably, if not the best, one of the best sources of soluble fiber in the plant kingdom. And it's a key component in pulling and extracting bile from the liver and gallbladder and carrying out into the toilet. Without adequate fiber, without adequate soluble fiber, that bile will keep recirculating. And I'm not going to get too nerdy on you, but it affects our estrogen levels in a negative way. It can create a lot of havoc in our endocrine system, as well as, our digestive stuff. Okay, I just got a thing that the internet was a little bit unstable, and I hope we stay stable here. Okay, bitters. In Ayurveda, there's a saying that bitter is better, and that's not for exactly everyone, but bitters help you digest your food. And particularly, it's super good for people that are pre and diabetic. It's good for just about everyone. There are a few minor exceptions. But bitters help to release gas and bloating and indigestion. They encourage digestive secretions. So we need enzymes and acids to break down the food so that the component parts can be absorbed into the tissues and the cells. Without that capacity, we end up with what is called ama. When we don't break down the food optimally, we create a sludge that blocks our channels that feed our cells and release waste products back out of the cells into the toilet. I hope this is all landing for you and I'm not getting confusing and you're with me. One of the best bitters, there's a bunch, but one of the best bitters that comes to mind for me is dandelion greens, dandelion roots, dandelion flowers. If you can get dandelion into your body on a regular basis, it really supports that bile flow. It supports the liver. It supports those digestive secretions to break down hard to digest foods. One of the things that happens when we don't digest our food and have the breakdown into component parts is we might start to see food intolerances: wheat, dairy, eggs, fill in the blank. So A lot of times food intolerances are just a matter of dialing in the digestion and getting that optimized. Another class of herbs are carminative herbs, and these warm the body. It creates more digestive fire. It helps to break down the food. It reduces gas. One of my favorite blends in my apothecary is a blend of carminative herbs called chai latte. So if you love chai, it's also very beneficial as long as it's not, really loaded with sweets, right? But fennel, cardamom, dill, cumin, cinnamon, caraway, lemon balm, those are awesome herbs for warming and increasing digestive fire. Ginger, I talked about ginger the other day. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Then there's another class, calming anti-inflammatory herbs to calm the digestive tract. Some of us suffer from maybe a colitis or just sore, tired bowels or ulcers or something that's more fiery, and we need to calm and cool that down. One of the best plant medicines for that is aloe vera juice. We know that if we put aloe vera on our skin, it takes the burn away. It helps to soothe and cool that, right? And the same thing happens with your digestive system. If you have too much fire, it might manifest in your digestive system. Sometimes fire can manifest as anger, like I'm gonna kill somebody, or just feeling hot or having hot flashes. Calming and cooling, aloe vera is a beautiful thing to take. It's just a matter of drinking aloe vera juice, a couple of ounces a day. Licorice root is mucilaginous, and it calms and soothes, and it calms and soothes the adrenal glands and creates this relaxed effect. Another calming is ginger. Ginger can kind of be plugged into most of these categories. It's pretty well-rounded. Things from the mint family, a spearmint or a peppermint tea, is cooling and calming. Turmeric is a anti-inflammatory. It drops that inflamed tissue down and calms it down. Cayenne. That seems a little contradictory, but cayenne pepper is notoriously good for calming digestive pain. So stirring a little cayenne, popping it down the throat, or a cayenne pill so you don't have to feel the burn, it drops the pain down. So your stomach pain, often cayenne is prescribed. So that's kind of a holistic view of different herbs, and certainly it's not all of them. It's just a smattering, an example of things that you can begin to work with to help your digestion. One of my favorite go-tos, and I work with this intensely every April and October with a group to help really dial in and optimize the digestive system, is triphala. And that might be a brand new word for you, but it's Sanskrit for three fruits, triphala. And these three fruits work synergistically to detoxify the body and to optimize the digestion. And depending on what's going on with your digestion, it has this wisdom, the plant medicine has this wisdom to balance all of it. If you have a tendency toward diarrhea, triphala in the right dosage can remedy that. And if it's constipation, it can remedy that. And if it's inflammation, it can remedy that. So it's a brilliant herb in my apothecary. I tincture it and so that it can go in, and in the medium of alcohol, it penetrates all the cells, very instantaneously. Triphala. And then there's this whole conversation around digestive enzymes and probiotics. And I do want to address that because it's important. The teaching of Ayurveda is if your body makes it, don't introduce it. You encourage that pathway to be supported so that the body can continue to make it. And what I'm talking about here is the digestive enzymes. I've known people that have used them and have leaned on them to support their health. And I get it. It really is not fun to have indigestion and digestive disturbance. But when you introduce an exogenous digestive enzyme, the body stops making the digestive enzymes. And so it's a matter of massaging your digestion so that you can turn that pathway back on and make your own optimally. And that's pretty much all I have to say about that. Probiotics, taking probiotics has been all the rage, right? And it's okay. It's okay to do that. I fall into the camp of most of the time, if we have our nutrition dialed in and we're eating the right things, and we went over how to eat the other day, the body encourages the proliferation of good bugs in the gut and where they need them. There's lots of places where we have bacteria. So I'm a fan of eating prebiotic food. And I'll say it again, I mentioned it earlier this week. If you can set it on the table and it will rot, you can eat it. And the way food rots is with bacteria, right? So there's bacteria in our food, right? Like when we consume prebiotic food that will rot, then our alimentary tract can, once it gets down into the colon, you're feeding the gut flora and it will proliferate and flourish and do all the good things that it's supposed to do for you. But, let's face it, sometimes we have to go on antibiotics. And when that happens, it's a really good idea to go on probiotics. And there's a gajillion, and I don't know which one I would recommend, but there's a gajillion things out there. There are fermented foods that the Ayurveda teaches that we should have a little bit of that every single day. Pickles, yogurt, kimchi, kombucha. Those are all examples of fermented food that helps to encourage the proliferation of certain bacteria. We know that stress increases our bad bugs, the bad bugs that cause problems, and decreases our good bugs. And I talked about that earlier. But digestive health is pinnacle to our overall health. I will wrap here by saying that when our digestion is working, everything else falls in line. Our mood, our disposition, our energy, our friendliness. We don't feel crabby, right? We don't feel inflamed. We don't feel bloated. Everything is working pretty good. Okay. I think that's it. If you have any questions, just hop on here and unmute yourself. If you're catching this on the replay, please ask, because I want you to get everything, just get every piece of juice you can out of this. Well, you're home. Hey, awesome. Any questions?
Thank you for all of that. Well, I loved how you went through each one, because I'm a tea person, and as you know, I have multiple ones, and now I'm seeing the benefit of doing different ones and not getting stuck with one specific one. But I loved how you explained how each thing helps with the whole digestive piece and where we get hung up. So yeah, I'm glad you recorded this one, because I need to, now that I'm not driving, I can go back and take notes and and put where things specifically need to be.
It's a massive study. We could sit here and talk for hours about digestion. I just wanted to give highlights. So what's your favorite tea? What's your favorite one that you have?
Well, I have some that I bought, down at the marketplace, and I was just looking while you were ending. I have the lemon grass one that I'm making right now. I think it's called lemongrass. No, I'm sorry. It's called Immune Booster. And
Yeah.
it's that one. And then I do have licorice root, and I also have dandelion root. And so I have like a lovely little collection. and, um, and I have one called Lung Love, which I had purchased, during allergy season when things were really crazy. So, and sometimes I put them away in the summer because I seem to drink less tea. But my doctor said today, drink 1 cup of coffee and then have your teas. And I thought, oh, and I'm taking a class on taking better care of myself. So that means I can drink tea throughout the day when I need to quiet the coffee down.
Yeah, and you can always brew it and let it sit to get room temperature. Or sometimes, ice is not your friend too much with digestion. Some people can tolerate it more than others. So you could do like an iced tea, and you're still getting the herbs in your body.
I don't tolerate ice at all. Actually, if somebody pours me a glass of water and they put ice in it, I cough when I drink it. So I order everything without ice and don't put ice in anything. But I know a lot of people like things really cold. So
Yeah, that's such an American thing, and it's really not a good habit. There always is an exception, right? Some people need cooled down, but mostly not so much. It really does put out your digestive fires.
yes, yes, I loved all that explanation. So Kat, thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
I'll send you an email after class.
Okay, wonderful.
All right, thanks.
Who
Kat,
else?
are there any of those herbs that are damaged or hindered by heating? Like if you make a tea out of a certain herb, is it better if you take it raw because it affects its composition?
Not really. There's
No?
there are certain things that get destroyed by heat, like vitamin C, right?
Mhm.
But like the trifala has a very, amalaki is one of the fruits in there, and it has a very stable source of vitamin C, and a lot of these other herbs do too. They're meant, like, yes, you can eat them raw, and you can, like, here's a big, I can't think of the word. Anyway, a lot of people believe that if they cook their food, they're destroying the nutrients. And most people do better with cooked food because they can digest the food better.
Mhm.
It's kind of pre-digested. Heat is what digests the food, right?
Right.
And so not really, just have it. Great question though. Yep. Does that help?
Mhm. The other thing is I've been suffering from a lot of acid reflux, especially when I go to sleep, when I lie down, noticeably on my right side. If I lie on my right side, the acid reflux is worse than if I lie on my left side. That's weird, right?
Not really.
Popping Tums like mad, and my doctor basically reiterated what you just said, that if we get our body to depend on external sources for those enzymes, that we stop making them. So I started drinking aloe vera juice instead when I have acid reflux. So now I have aloe vera juice in my fridge, and it does have an expiration date, but does it really ever go bad? I mean, it's aloe vera. I don't know.
Yeah, it can. I mean, it's
It would
it's
smell,
fairly
right?
shelf stable, but yes, it can. Just have it. I do want to say this. I'm glad you brought this up. One of the one of the things that is happening pretty pandemically is low stomach acid.
Huh.
So you have the opposite effect, and I'm wondering if it's a feedback loop to protect your stomach lining. So there's some things to try. I hesitate to get into it right now because I don't want it, because it's not for everyone, right?
Right, right.
But there might be some things that are really causing your stomach to feel burny. I mean,
Yeah, probably
there's a
fine.
test. So if you know that baking soda is basic, it's the opposite of acidic. And so if you stir in a couple, just a pinch or two of baking soda into a glass of water and sip on it, that may, if it alleviates, it's a therapy and a test. And if it alleviates your symptoms, then you know you have too much acid.
Mhm. One other question, where do you source your triphala and stuff like that? Where do you get it?
I source it from an organic source. I buy my stuff in bulk because I make a lot of triphala for my clients. But I buy it powdered from
'Cause that,
Banyan. Oh,
I have,
okay. Yeah, that's good.
again, shelf life, I don't think there's an expiration date on them, but how long
Yeah.
do they last?
Or herbs, in their whole form last a year. They start to decline over time. Light, heat, and oxygen, will take some of the benefit away, start to the good juju in it starts to disappear, right? So the best option, for example, some of the herbs that you can cook with, if you buy them whole and grind them fresh, you're really getting the most bang for your buck and the most good stuff in your food. Cumin, cardamom, fennel, those three are awesome digestives.
And those are under calming or carminative? Carminative, right?
Carminative, yeah. Yep. But take a look or maybe just reach out and we can talk later. There are some reasons why the body makes excess stomach acid. And we might have to have a side combo about that.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Okay, tomorrow we're getting into the juiciest part. We're going to go into stress, or rather how not to stress. I've got some awesome tools to share. So I hope you join me tomorrow. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, just reach out. Namaste.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.